Be talking about Donald Trump's favorite term, SAD. It's also an acronym for Seasonal Affective Disorder, also known as seasonal depression, winter blues. Initially I was going to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs sucking, but I thought this was a little more newsworthy. And I saw it last night, and so I sort of just ripped off this speech. But personally, I've been affected by this within the last 2 weeks. Not necessarily seasonal depression, but I had a coworker slash friend that actually took his own life like 2 weeks ago. So I think it's just a good idea to sort of talk about these issues, mental health. I think our society is definitely getting better for it, but there definitely still is a stigma around it, surrounding it, and maybe if we have these conversations, it can sort of end the tension in that. But anyways, we'll just get to it. So in the article that I was reading, between 2 and 8% of people living in higher latitude countries that get less light in winter are affected by it. So like Canada, Denmark, Sweden are like sort of the most relevant countries that these issues have occurred. And basically it's the same thing as depression. It just affects how you live in your day-to-day life, just how you go about things. Basically just your attitude to living. In Canada, if these numbers are valid, so that's between almost 725,000 people and 2.9 million people, which is an absurd amount of people, I think, in a small country like us. Some of the symptoms that are different than traditional depression are oversleeping, which in traditional depression your sleeps are a little bit more disrupted, and carbohydrate cravings, which with traditional depression is you sort of just lose your appetite altogether, which I thought was a little interesting. But also in the article that I was reading, it sort of said that it's a lighter version of traditional depression, and I thought that was a little unfair, considering you're trying to end the stigma with it. It's like stigma within a stigma kind of thing, right? You know, who's one to say that you're more depressed than another person? I feel that the lows of traditional depression are, maybe they're a little bit more consistent, but when winter rolls around, I feel like a person that actually has SAD, it's just at the same level, just it dips a little bit more, right? So one theory of this was proposed by a professor, I'll butcher his name if I try to say it, at the University of Toronto, but he proposed that this dates back like 10,000 years to our ancient ancestors. Another stat that I forgot to say was that of that 2 to 8% that it affects the population, 80% of that are women. So he proposed that in the winter months, way back in the day, women would try and save as much energy as they could for reproduction. So they just basically, in terms of energy conservation, they wouldn't be doing as much. Whereas like today, we sort of live a 24-hour life. So I mean, you're trying to do your homework, go to work, walk your dog, and you physically just are unable to. But that's just a theory. Another one is just your circadian rhythms. Does anybody know what that is? It's basically if you're a night owl or a morning person, and what happens is that light will go through your retina, go into your brain, and it, depending on how it is interacting with your brain, it can heat your inner temperature up, and then some people are more so woken up or heated up to their maximum homeostasis in the morning, where some people are at night, and they think that that the melatonin released in this process might just be being released in a wonky way, like in the wrong moments of the day for these people. So then just sort of screws everything up, and then they're left being depressed, basically. Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I was looking at some remedies for this, and there's these little light panels, like ultraviolet light panels, that they can sell to you, and you basically just blast your face with this thing. And there's like a couple like disclaimers on it. It's like you have to make sure it's the right panel, or else you keep getting cancer or shit. I can just imagine waking up, grabbing this thing, and be like, I'm not depressed anymore. It's pretty crazy. I mean, there is proper ways to medicate yourself with, pharmaceutical drugs and stuff. But in my opinion, I feel a good diet and just enough exercise is, especially for this time of year, it's pretty key in fighting it. So that's all I got. Thanks.